everyone. Welcome back. We're going to go into the second half of our session here. It may go a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, we'll see, but it's just an opportunity for these characters to really explore a little bit more about their backgrounds and how they act the way they do at given time. Like I said in the first session or the first episode of this, it's a great way to kind of exercise your player character chops to really get into the mind of your player character when you're doing these little one-offs. So, in any case, here we go. We are in a police station in London, and the characters of Monsieur Alonso Joyeux and Miss Miranda Russell are in a room right now in that police station.
Is it Alonso Joyeux?
Is it Alonso? I'm sorry, is it not Alonso?
His first name Alonso. His first name's Ambrose.
Ambrose, I'm so sorry. I thought
he's now got an alter
strike
ego.
that out. Strike that out.
Alonso.
Completely edit out.
Really
Monsieur
Italian.
Ambrose Joyeux. He's really Italian. He's
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. There we go. So, and then this is what happens, folks, when you don't do your homework. So let that be a lesson to all you GMs out there.
Alonso.
In any case, so you guys are in this
I just
room.
think
There's
that
a
name
table.
is so funny.
It is funny, and now it's not good. It's not
And
good.
now it's his name. That's unfortunate.
No, it's not. It's not your
I'm
name.
gonna remember that from
Ambrose,
now on.
Ambrose, Ambrosia, Ambrose. Easy peasy
yes.
to remember. So you're in this room. You have a table, and there's this box that you've uncovered. It was part of a shipment, as you guys can see on the. I put the article up there on the video cast so that everybody can see it. It's part of a shipment that came in from Far East China, and also the deepest parts of Russia. It looks like, and yeah, it's one of the articles that came in on that shipment that had gone missing, and apparently. Both our heroes are here to reclaim said object. How it arrived at this police station we haven't really talked about, but perhaps it will come up, perhaps it won't even have a chance to find out. So, here we are. The box has been opened. Let's go ahead and switch you guys over to the...
The package has been
yeah.
opened. The box.
Yeah,
is
the
not
box-
open.
Or, I'm sorry, the package
still-
has been opened. That's right. Thank you.
Okay.
Package has been opened. It does have some ancient Chinese writing that's on it that says the green morning is our past and future. At least that's the translation that you're able to pick up. And it came from an ancient Chinese dynasty that dates back to 250 or 210 BC. Now, that was based on your cultural role. So Miss Russell was able to take a look at this and kind of, look at the bottom of the box, look at the top. You've got these brass bands that are crisscrossing from top to bottom and side to side. And then you have matching circular, what looks like gears with 4 little holes that are on the top and bottom of the box. And then for Monsieur Ambrose Joyeux, something for you there. So I'll send that over. So you wanted to take an opportunity to look at the writing as well. It's something kind of intriguing you. So how do you take a closer look at it? Do you step away from the door, or do you
Yeah, I think I would have to step away from the door.
okay,
Since it's on the
alright.
table.
It's at that time. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you dare!
Where's
Don't you dare!
No, I would never do that.
'Cause I was so gonna say I'll go lean up against the door, and I didn't say it. So keep going.
Let that be a lesson to you GMs. Don't aha your players. That's just,
Uh-huh.
I'm just waiting for
Yeah,
something to
you'll-
happen. The gargoyle's gonna jump in. So yeah.
You're lucky you're not around a table.
That's right. Dice at my head.
At my Numenera session on not last, was it last Saturday? The extra life thing.
Mhm.
Mike was there. He was jamming our Numenera session, and I ended up having to yell at one of my party mates because what the hell was wrong with him?
What's wrong with you? Why did you do that?
Stop wasting your turns while our guy is getting killed by a giant robot.
Ugh, robots madness. So yeah, so sent over that message to you, so that's what
So
you
yeah,
see.
that's how I almost fought one of my fellow players IRL.
Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. I'll never aha my players. That's not good. All right. So yeah, so you have a chance to take a look at that.
Yeah.
So Miss Russell, what do you want to do with the knowledge that you've acquired?
Um, let's see. I want to try to open it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what to do. I want to look at the gears at this point.
All right.
Knowing, well, let's back up a step. Knowing when it came from, which maybe I didn't know that previously. Maybe there's been some research that I've done in the meantime that's allowed me to recognize it now, whereas I wouldn't before.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, or would I have recognized it previously?
Not quite. This one, I mean, as far as what you've seen in Ratcliffe's notes, there was at least the way it's written, obviously, there's kind of like a bit of a cipher going on here. There's just nothing but question marks about it. Yeah, you can determine where it's from, like what period, but that's about as far as you've been able to take it.
And what I have just shared, was that something that Ratcliffe knew when he made his notes? Or is that something that I know now that he did not know before?
At the time of acquisition, there wasn't really a lot of time to.
Okay, perfect.
There wasn't an opportunity to look at some of the stuff you're looking at.
Okay, so that's what I want to know. So then, in that case, my excitement level is going to rise quite a bit as I'm recognizing things and reading things now, and kind of getting lost in looking at the details and exclaiming over recognizing the time period and how did I not see this before? How did I not, recognize this writing? And this helps me date the item to when it was created, and it can't condition. It's much older than I thought when I first found it. Kind of along those lines. Kind of mumbling to myself, but very, very interested in what I'm looking at. Okay. And looking at, again, after all of that, while I'm doing that, looking at the gears to see if I can see, if I move one, do they all move? Do they all look the same? What exactly, what can I see? So I'm looking for a way to open it at this point.
Okay. So I guess what I would ask is, you've got this skill in archaeology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that play into what you know here? I think it could. I think it could, just simply because you've had to deal with, quote unquote, puzzling together the aspects of ancient cultures, that sort of thing. So as you're looking in through the materials that have been brought to you for research and reading in books, that sort of thing, you've had to kind of put puzzles together. Now, how that translates to mechanical things of, this kind of nature.
The only thing it would translate to is if this is something that is used, for example, in this time period. They use things of this nature, like in the era, of the skeleton key era, when the locks looked all similar, and you had a skeleton key that could fit a variety of different locks. If it's something like that, that would be a hallmark of its era, or of a certain time or place or something like that, then I might recognize it, at least in theory, that it's a locking mechanism or has to be moved in a certain way. Whether or not that allows me to open it is different, but that's where I think the archaeology would come in.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. All right, so if we want to go ahead and do this then, if you wanted to take a look, maybe use the archaeology skill. This is going to be a toughie though.
Okay.
So it's going to be, let me see. And again, for those playing at home, with Victoriana, the black dice, the more black dice you have involved with the roll, obviously these are the ones that are going to counteract what successes you do get. The more there are, this kind of represents the difficulty of whatever's happening.
Okay, so what black dice are you giving me, sir?
I'm gonna give you 3 on this one.
Ooh, all right.
So it's gonna be tough. Now, I'll ask this before you roll, Monsieur Joyeux, what your experience in the past. Have you ever experienced anything with puzzle boxes? Is that something that's been you've been exposed to at all?
Puzzle boxes.
And I'm kind of looking over your skills and thinking about your history as well. So.
The idea of them, certainly. Maybe not necessarily something like this, but I think he'd, not necessarily, exactly what's in front of him, but I think he'd have enough, understanding and background that he wouldn't be walking into it completely blind.
Right. Okay. Because I'm trying to think of a way that you might be able to assist.
And I'm also thinking about what you ninja noted me.
Say that again?
I'm also thinking about what you ninja noted me and when to bring that in.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'm also still examining the box.
All right.
Now, I refresh my memory here, Jeff. There's a way to add other skills to your roll, and then you take a different penalty off of that. How does that work again?
Well, let's see here. So let's go over to the rule book. Take a look at that real quick. Now, basically the way I've been kind of playing it, and this might be a little bit of a modification to the game. I don't believe it is, but in essence, when you guys are rolling your skills, you have the derived attribute or the attributes that derive off of that. Whether it's it's something that's based off of wits. If it's streetwise, might be based off of wits. But sometimes it might do better to be based off of something else, just simply because you're using a different aspect of you as a person. So sometimes I'll have that switched out. Now, in other cases, what I may do is add in some things that you have. If you can maybe cross-pollinate some skills, or kind of use a term to fork it into the overall total. So if you have, let's say you had something in puzzle boxes, right? Let's say you had the skill puzzle box, but then you also have another skill in, let's say, sleight of hand or something. Well, because of the deftness that allows, you might be able to see a hidden something or other, that might help you out a little bit. So that's kind of the way it works. So if you were looking to roll your...
In this case, so I was looking to roll what did we just say? The archaeology? Yeah. That's based on my wits, which is my highest attribute.
Okay.
So I have 3 in wits, and I have 2 points in archaeology. Okay. So that's already a 5, which is not bad. And I'm just looking over to see if I've got anything else. Concentration. I mean, I have things in dexterity, but that's like fisticuffs and things of that nature. That's not. Yeah. I don't want to beat it up.
Stop smashing it.
Perception, no, that's wits. Nothing there. I have improvised weapon. No. I don't. Well, there's a point in research, but that's also wits. So I don't know that there's anything that's really going to change what I have. So I think I'll have 5 dice and then 3 black dice. So unless there's something else, I'll go ahead and roll that.
All right, let's do it.
1 and whoa, cancel each other out.
Oh, dang.
Bummer. Okay, so well, hang on a sec.
Don't break it.
Well, no, you rolled a 3 and a 2. Oh, I see. Never mind. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it and you're trying to kind of work with the gears, and you're thinking that as you're doing this, and you've got 1 failure, no successes. Why don't you do this for me? Can I have you? Let's see. What do you have? You have a dodge. You have. I'll just give me a quick dexterity roll.
Okay.
So 2d. Just roll your 2d6 there, and no black dice on it.
holes. There you go.
All right, so you got a 4 and a 1. All right, so you got a success. That's good. It wasn't
So
going
what
to be
did
any
you
severe harm, but
what did you have us do for that? Was that just the dexterity of fingers, or what are we
yeah,
doing?
specifically fingers. Yeah. As you're working with these cogs, you're finding that the 4 holes that are in there fit, your fingers, and you're trying to you intuitively enough. I mean, the gears look like they spin. It's not like they
Mm-hmm.
twist and turn and stuff. It's a spinning motion. So you're trying to turn one here, and then you're trying to turn another one here, and you're feeling as you turn it, it's hard to start the motion, but then it starts to move a little bit easier.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden you feel as if there's a spring that's tightening. Like it's wanting to go back into position, and the more you turn it, the more it tries to go back into position. And right at the point where you can't turn it anymore, you feel like your hand kind of wants to pull out. You pull your hand out, and it snaps right back into place. And you notice that there was a significant amount of torque in there that could have caused some injury. Not severe, but it could have caused some injury there.
I feel like
let's
I'm
see
dialing a
here.
dangerous rotary phone.
Yeah, right. It's the world's worst phone. It's a steampunk phone.
Wow.
Exactly.
Let's see here.
Okay, interesting. So a tension that feels dangerous in some way, or it feels like if I could just twist it one more, it would snap into place. Like what do I feel there?
It doesn't feel like it goes, and it not so much in that direction. It just doesn't feel like it was the right move at that time.
Gotcha. Interesting. So she's still muttering under her breath about when this was discovered and how she wishes she had more time to spend on it, and wishes that she had spent more time looking in the area where it was discovered. Maybe there were some clues there, or maybe there was something else that would have given some indication of how to open this thing.
So what does that sound like when you're doing that? What does that sound like when Miss Russell is talking to herself?
Kind of muttering to herself, like clearly enough that Joyeux could hear it, but she seems to have forgotten that he's there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like let me think, kind of clicking around with the gears and lifting the thing again, looking at the gear at the bottom and seeing as she's moving one at the top, does the one on the bottom move? And the conversation with herself would be like, I can't believe it's been so long ago. This has been sitting in this box all this time. I should have taken the time to explore the area more thoroughly. I should have, not mattered that there was, I knew I had to rush because the army was following behind, and I knew I didn't have a lot of time, and it was just, I wish that the circumstances were different. There must have been some more information there when I found this piece. There had to have been something else. I hope that I have enough information now that I can open this thing. I kind of just mutter under her breath.
Nice. All right. Cool. So what's happening with you, Monsieur?
So you've seen this before, then?
What? What? Like she just totally pulled out of her reverie of focus. And did you say something?
We can talk about that later, I think. Let me see this box. See, I mean, you said you've seen this before, then?
Yes, I have seen it before.
And whoever was with you while you were running for the army or whatever bloody thing you were doing. I don't believe you had anyone experienced in sigils with you, did you?
No, I most certainly did not. Is that what these are?
They're old. Very old sigils.
I know they're old, but I didn't know they were
And,
sigils. Interesting. That might explain something. Okay.
and while you were twisting those gears, let me see if I can try doing the same thing she did again.
Okay.
Would that be a sleight of hand roll? As a
You could use that. That would be fine. I was looking at that in the rule book here. Let me go back to it. Sleight of hand. Where'd you go? There you are. So, sequence of complex card tricks. Upon clients of the swans and life religions. But you see people's faces in the form. Okay. Yeah, I think you could. I think you could do that.
right now, I'd just be trying to do the same thing she was doing before.
Yeah, that doing the same thing. So what do you, as Joyeux's like kind of putting his hands on in those same areas there? What are you thinking of Miss Russell, as he's doing that?
So the mention of the sigils just has her brain running now, and so she's, on the one hand, she's thinking to herself, what did I say out loud? What did I say in my head? What did I say out loud? What did he hear? But the other part of her brain, which is focused on the item and the archaeology and the history there, is saying, sigils. How did I not think of sigils before? That could be it. What does that mean? And she's running down that train of thought. So two different parts of her brain are going in two different directions at the moment.
Okay. All right.
All right. So
yeah, let's.
while I'm doing that, I'm gonna gesture her over to the side of the table where I am to look at the box while I'm doing this.
Okay.
Right. So the roll is 2 for dexterity, 1 for sleight of hand. How many black dice is this?
Okay. Let's see here. So you're using sleight of hand. You did kind of get a bead on what was happening somewhat. So I'd say let's go with 2 on this one. If you're going to be doing the exact same thing, if you're going to be doing something different, then it will be a 3. So I'll give you that much. Well, and the reason being is that you saw how it was reacting with her. You're trying to trigger, at least what I understand, you're trying to trigger the same response.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I saw something she didn't.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get her to see the same thing now.
Okay.
Perfect.
So
All right.
watching carefully.
That's what I thought. Okay, good. Yeah, go for it.
Damn.
All right. So one there. Okay. Now, so you're starting to kind of work the gears in the same way, and you're feeling that same tension as it builds up. So it's kind of like as you're turning it, and because maybe you're a little bit closer to it, and you're kind of listening. It's again you're using your hands. You're not so much using your eyes at this point. Maybe that's how you're kind of you work things into muscle memory and how you're doing your performances, that sort of thing, to the point where you could just do it with your eyes closed, literally. And that's kind of what you're doing right now. You're trying to get a feel for it. And as you're making this move, you can hear, because now your eyes are closed and you're hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spinning up of gears on the inside, and as you turn it, it's almost like the gears spin a little bit faster. These little tiny gears are spinning a little bit faster and causing the tension to grow. So it's almost like that's what's causing the coiled spring to get tighter and tighter and tighter as you turn it. Now for you, Miss Russell, on the other side of the box, you're seeing these symbols begin to glow. There's 4 of them. So again, the top and the bottom of the box is pretty much the same. So, we're just kind of looking at this real quick. And the scratch symbols that are here, these old symbols that are from, ancient China, all 4, or I should say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them begin to glow with like a pale white blue glow.
Ooh.
As the gear starts to turn, and as the tension in the gear starts to get almost unbearable, like it feels like you might break it, because it's a heavy thing. It's the gears feel like they're really well made, that sort of thing, but the inside of it, you almost feel like you're going to break something as you keep turning it. And so that same reaction happens that for an instant, and I'll actually have, not worry about rolling it. For an instant there, uh, Ambrose, you feel like the box is correcting itself. It's almost not defending itself, but it's stopping it. The best impression you can get is when you were trying to learn a particular trick or a particular maneuver. About 5 years ago, your mind flashes back to this, and it's been 5 years, and you were learning this
5 years.
you were learning this particular card trick, and one of a person that was helping you at the time was teaching you that you had to throw it behind your back in order to catch it on the front, but you had to make sure your arm arced back. And when you couldn't get your arm to arc back properly, they started bending the arm back for you, and it started hurting your shoulder. And eventually you just kind of torqued against it and you pulled away from it, and kind of in a self-preservation feel to not have your shoulder separate. And that's what it feels like this box is doing. Is that it's like, oh, you've turned me too far and that hurts, I've got to go back. And so on the other side, when you hear the snap of the gears go back, and you didn't get the fail dice, so you were able to get your hand out and you don't have to do a test. When that clicks back into place, Miranda, that's when the glow stops on the runes.
Okay. Joyeux, I don't know what you did, but you did something. And it seemed to be working. Why did you stop?
I did the same thing you did. But you felt that, right? The tension in the box.
Yes,
yes. It's like pulling a muscle too far.
I wonder if there's a way to release that tension or to angle it in a different way. There must be something we're overlooking here. The sigils, they out of game here. What is it, like a magical symbol type thing in this setting, or what does it mean?
Well, I mean, it depends on what. I mean, outside of game, it's you know, it's an avenue of magic. Yeah.
Okay, that's
it's one of the avenues.
That's what I thought. Okay. So when they started to glow, would that be an indication that, like, do you have to do some kind of incantation or something to make the sigil work, or you just tap into it somehow and then it automatically does its thing?
Are you asking in game or outside of game?
Well, is that something I would know? I mean, I guess I don't know. Is that common knowledge, or is that like a specialized thing?
Well, it's specialized in a sense that it's not as broadly used as some of the things that other magicians use, whether it's incantations or it's drawing magic, that sort of thing. It's a little bit different. It's not as widely known, but it is, what you do know of it is that it's an older form of magic.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not something that's like super common that I would know how this works. That's kind of what I was getting at in general. Okay. Yeah. So in that case, Joyeux, do you know what these sigils are meant to do, or do you know how to activate them? I mean, obviously you were doing something right, but I'm not sure what we're missing here.
Well, it's clearly some mix of machinery and magic.
And I know very, very little about magic, so that is not my area of expertise.
Yeah. And Joy's experience with magic is like a little bit kind of patched together. Okay. Mostly self-taught. He definitely wouldn't understand, like, the language of this, but or like its details. Okay. But it's definitely intended to do something. And his best guess would probably be that it's part of the mechanism to protect this box. So whoever made it clearly wanted to make it a chore to open.
Okay. Is there, do you know of a way to deactivate a sigil? Or...
Would I know that? You'd have to erase it out of the box, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things that can happen. The sigil can be destroyed, but that if the sigil has already been empowered, which it seems like these are, that could cause some kind of a, maybe not a cataclysm, but it could be Something like, messing with a
something
grenade or something like that.
Something you wouldn't want going off in a small room.
Right.
Okay.
You could if you, but I wouldn't suggest it if you wanted to keep your hands.
Okay. That's a bad idea then. I do like my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to keep them. And you think
A sentiment we both share.
if we continue to twist at those dials, so you're only doing 2 at a time. Perhaps if we do them all at once? I don't know if that would matter, but we could try it. In the same direction or different directions, or I don't know.
It's worth
Maybe
trying.
the tension comes from not having them all moving at the same time.
Well, it's worth a shot. And I certainly doubt that simply twisting the gears is going to...
Yes, I doubt that as well, but I don't have any better idea at the moment. I would just kind of keep... now, let me think about this for a second. The brass binding that's on there, does that bind the box closed, or is it just decorative and I can see a seam along the sides where if it were to open, it's just open?
Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, if you're taking time to kind of like work your way along it, I'm not gonna. It's kind of like one of those take 10 or take 20 type things. You give yourself a little bit of time to look at it. It does look like the bands are part of a locking mechanism.
Okay, so I was thinking, could I try to chip them off and like peel them off some way? But
yeah, probably not. I mean, these bands are pretty well forged.
All right. Well, crud. I'm really bad at these things. Yeah, you don't want me stuck in a puzzle room because we'll never get out of it. Okay. Not a very good idea to twist them all at once, but that's the best guess I've got at the moment.
Okay. You guys want to give that a shot?
I couldn't hurt. So let's try that.
So is the box kind of flat on the table, and you guys are working with the dials that are on the top?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you guys start working at the dials this time. Let's do this. Let's use either sleight of hand or dexterity, whichever you have.
Okay, I've got dexterity.
I've got sleight of hand. So.
Okay.
2 again? I mean, it's
yep.
2. Yes, it's 2.
Well, actually,
it's
you're working
2
together, so no black dice on this one.
Okay.
Just have you kind of work together on that.
2, 1.
Well, help.
Dang.
Oh, okay. All right. So, as you guys are trying to work with the dials, you start to feel like you might be on the right track. There's a certain combination that might need to be worked here within the 4 dials. And when you get to a certain point, again, you're starting to feel that kind of same tension that the box is wanting to the gear is wanting to kind of go back into place before it breaks. And as all of the clacking and the gears turning and the little tiny cogs that are whirring on the inside, it starts to become a lot more obvious, the sound of a mechanism within the box, to the point that you actually hear the little tiny sound of not just a music box, but that kind of the sound of metal tines over those little knobs as the ball turns. In essence, a music box. You hear the first couple notes of a song, or of like a perfect C and a perfect G, come out of the tones. That's what it is: tones, not tunes, but tones. And for the briefest of seconds, when you turn the gears a certain way before it comes to the point where it just will not stay and it has to go back, those 2 tones sound. And the box rises about a half of an inch, and then it comes back down.
The whole box or the lid?
The whole box.
Interesting. Okay. So, Joyeux, do you think that we should stand the box up and work with the gears on the other side as well? Or do you think that there's maybe a pattern to what we need to be doing here with these on this side?
There must be a pattern. But we're on, it seems like we're on the right track. That got us more of a reaction than last time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try the ones on the other side.
For the sake of argument, let's try. If we stand the box on an end, the other side looks like this one, correct?
Right, it does.
So if we try the top two on each side.
Okay. Sounds fine. So you're kind of standing it on end like this. If I can draw it. Come on, Jeff, you can do it. Da, 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 da. Nope, I can't. Nope, it's gone wrong.
Oh, no.
It's gone wrong. It's gone
Not
wrong.
rogue.
Nope.
That's what happened to the box when we tried to stand it up. It went.
It's yeah.
It
It
just
went
collapses.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
hit the wrong
so
chain.
you guys are basically just you're standing it up on end like this, and then are you working on both sides of it, or you're going to still work on one side first?
No,
and then...
no. I think my thought was try the top two on each side
Yeah.
Oh,
at
I
the
see
same
what you're
time.
saying. Okay.
just to
All
see
right.
if that makes any different kind of reaction.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so you guys kind of stand on either side of the table that's there, and you set it up on its end, and you begin doing this again. So go ahead and make your same rolls this time. We'll see what happens.
Nice.
All right, so I got one there. Reroll that 6, Miranda.
1, 6. Let's see.
Well, I actually got a 16.
Yeah, it should. It looks like it re-rolled already by itself because you only have 3 dice there, but you rolled a 6. I think the follow-up was probably a 5.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I see it now.
Okay, so each of you got 1 success. That's all right.
We've gotten before.
All right, so the dials begin to turn, and actually, it seems like it wasn't so much the direction. The direction was fine. You guys were going in the correct direction, but it was the timing. It seemed like it's almost kind of like when you're working on something. Perfect example: the gear and clutch of a car. If you've ever had to drive stick, there's a certain balance that you have to have with the clutch and the gas, to where the gears finally find purchase, and you can actually put force into the car. You can add the acceleration, and the gears will take off and go. And it seems like this was kind of like a matching up of those gears as you're working from either side of the box. And as you kind of feel that going in, you feel it lock into place and start to work. So as you do this, the gears themselves push into the box about a ½ inch on either side. So these top 2 on either side of the box push inwards, and the gears on the bottom half push outward, ½ inch each. And those glowing runes have started again, but this time they're glowing white. Before it was like a really pale blue, but now it's a white color.
Did Joyeux know what the runes meant in any way, or just that they just are glowing in their runes of some sort?
Yeah, I don't speak the language remotely, but
Okay.
I definitely understand that these are sigils. They have the same feel of other sigils that I've worked with.
So it moved, but it didn't open. Is that correct?
Right. You got those reactions where the gears went in, and then the bottom set, so the gears went out.
So do we think that, Alyssa, do we think we should try the bottom ones and see if
Let's try the ones that stuck out. Let's see what happens.
Try that. Twist
that
and
box
turn.
Up around.
So go ahead and roll again, but no, just go ahead and roll again. Let's see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, nothing there. Oh, 3 successes. Very nice. Okay. All right. So again, you're working with the lower gears now, the lower set of dials, and you make your way again, feeling your way through how the gears are fitting. Miranda has a little bit of trouble on it because maybe it's, I don't know, could it be like the runes or the sigils are starting to glow brighter, and you're starting to see like it's the light on those runes are actually becoming brighter than the light above, and it's it's reflecting off of the brass components of the table. It's reflecting off of the doorknob that's leading to the door. It's reflecting off of the wall that's on the left side of you, right over here. So it's starting to kind of reflect off of that as well. But it's definitely becoming the brightest light in the room.
Oh.
So you make the final turn, and these gears push inward as well. And it comes back to a certain equilibrium, but as it does, so the gears on top come out of their recession and pull out. These recede back to the regular spot, but this time the bands around it begin to almost unwrap. It seemed like they were solid bands before, but now it's almost as if there's let me draw this here. It's almost as if it's kind of like an interwoven piece of brass. So
okay.
it kind of starts to unwrap. Best equivalent would be like elven armor, how it kind of has that woven plates that go together, and it just starts to kind of unwrap along the line of the band. And as it does so, the white light starts to change. And let me I'll have you guys roll perception for both of you guys.
Would any of our skills help this, or?
Let's take a look.
Any
What
black dice?
I'm looking for sight and sound. Sight and sound that you might notice that's not directly in front of you. So let's see. You've got.
The only thing I would say would be maybe the forgery skill, just because I'm used to looking for things that might be very, very detail oriented. Maybe.
I could see it, but it's not specifically
Okay.
about the box. But I'm looking at both your guys' sheets here just to see what else might be there. Definitely perception for you, Joyeux. So we'll use that one. Let's see.
Probably all I have here.
How about? No, let's just go with perception. Let's just work with that for now.
Any black dice?
No black dice.
Got one?
All right, got one there. All right, and then okay, there's nothing there. Okay, all right. So let's see here. For you, Miss Russell, you in your peripheral vision, you're seeing the tinges of like a greenish, like emerald green glow. That's kind of slowly starting to come up from the floor. It's a soft glow, like it's emitting from the floor itself, like the entire floor was like some kind of a very soft lantern. And you see this, but you also hear the indistinct sounds of thumping outside.
Okay.
Like bags of rice like hitting the ground, or just like heavy weights just like hitting the ground outside.
Okay. And the box, is it open? Is it unraveling still? What's going on with the box?
So, alright, so the bands are starting to unravel, and the box itself, along the corners, you start to see the first thing happen with the wood itself. These corners right here start to expand away from the box, And because it's sitting on its end, it causes it to kind of push up. So these corners expand away and they twist. And the wood, the rest of the wood, like on the main paneling here, starts to begin to unlock. There's like this interlocking form of wood that's been, it must have taken a long time to carve into this fashion, but as you see it come apart, you're starting to see more of that lacquered wood that that the old dynasties were famous for using beneath the surface, almost like it was hidden by this, like a veneer of old wood. And it's starting to shift into shape. And from within, at the very center of the box, you're seeing, like right here, as this last band starts to open up, both of you see a tiny, tiny speck of green that's emitting light. So you both see this. So what do you want to do with that?
Would it be possible for me to step to the door and peek out?
Yeah.
Or is it... Okay. Because I'm wondering what's
can...
going on out there, whether it has any... If something's like... My first thought when I'm hearing this thumping is that someone is like passed out outside the door.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned about that.
Right.
That perhaps something that's going on with the box has caused some kind of reaction or whatever. So I want to just like very quietly keeping an eyeball back on the box and then peeking out the door real quickly, not even opening the door very far. Do I see anything immediately outside?
You turn the doorknob and the door starts to come open of its own volition. There's a weight behind it.
Okay.
And you kind of peer out the corner and kind of to your assumption it's actually Sergeant Mornay who's leaned up against the door. He's kind of face forward on the door, but he's kind of sprawled down like he's sliding off of the surface.
Okay.
And behind him, you're hearing like the kind of like groaning sounds of people who are kind of feel like they're had too much to drink and they're about ready to expel said contents.
Okay.
There's two other people that are in the hallway right now that have passed out as well.
Do they, between the sergeant and what I can see, do they appear to be breathing?
The sergeant is breathing, but there is kind of an odd gurgling in the back of his throat.
Oh dear.
Oh boy. This is great.
In the far distance...
I can be messed with.
In the far distance, let me get this one down away over here. This over here. And this over here. So, alright, so you have this, again, kind of like the whole idea of a typing pool almost. I mean, for lack of a better word. Let's see here. There's an opening there. And there. And another opening into it. And these are all like kind of half walls that are around the area. And within here, there's probably like about half a dozen, maybe 8 desks that are inside here, where people have been working. And as you're kind of like going out away from the door here, I'll use the measuring thing. As you're kind of going out away from the door here, when you get to about this point, this is where you're seeing there's a couple of guys that are there, police officers that are kind of doubled over, clear abdominal pain that's going on right now. A little bit further out, like around at this range, like kind of midway to the through the pool, you're seeing people who are looking over, like trying to figure out, hey, what's going on, that sort of thing.
Okay. And we haven't had any weird physical reaction, correct?
You're like, I don't know, how are you like kind of holding the door closed, or at least kind of holding it too, like to not allow him to kind of push it open with his body weight?
Yes, because I was originally just trying to open it a little bit, and when it would have pushed in, I would have pushed back to kind of not let it open all the way.
Okay. So you kind of have like your foot bracing it or whatever, and you're pushing back, that sort of thing. Okay. You look over. You're kind of looking over out among the folks that are here, and as you get further out, to about 20, I don't know if this isn't really to scale. It says 20 meters, so that's way too far. Out towards the edge of the pool, you're seeing the typing pool. You're seeing a couple of the officers. One of them is looking at another, and that other officer has a greenish glow coming from his eyes.
Oh, that's great.
And you catch that glimpse of it, and then you see a greenish glow out of the corner of your eye coming from within the room. And you look back to Monsieur Joyeux, and you see this greenish glow coming from his eyes.
Oh dear.
And Joy, you see Miranda's kind of had her back to you as she's like holding this door open, and she's like, oh my gosh, there's a body here, and whatever you may be saying. And when she turns back to look at you, there's this greenish glow that's coming from her eyes as well.
Joyeux, are you okay? Or do you feel all right?
I should be asking the same of you.
Why?
Your eyes are glowing.
Your eyes are glowing. Oh well. I think I feel fine, right? I don't feel anything weird, right?
Not right now. I mean, there's
okay.
In the back of both of your minds, like within that sound of that two-tone, the C and the G kind of continues to kind of ring and an echo in the distance.
Not quite sure what we have opened here, my dear, but thinking perhaps it's slightly dangerous.
Slightly.
Slightly.
Okay.
I
What's going
wonder.
on outside?
It appears that the dear sergeant is passed out against the door, and there's some other people up and down the hall who appear to have passed out as well, or are on their way there. And there's some other glowing green eyes out there. I was planning on retreating to our safe place here, but clearly it's not so safe.
What do you say we take this box and get out of here as soon as possible?
I'm wondering if we attempt to close it again before we release whatever it is out of... But,
Okay. Yeah, you could definitely try and close it up if that's what you want to do. No problem.
I don't know for sure, but I don't know that we want to take it anywhere while it's gushing green glowing stuff.
Yeah, I might not think that, but also might not be good.
Okay.
I don't know what we want to do. Is it doing it? So the glow is coming up from the floor. We're all glowing green, and the box is fully open, and we see a little tiny green dot.
Yeah. So within the center of the box seems to have kind of opened up into what looks almost like, now that you're kind of focused back on that and not on the door and on each other's eyes. Look into my eyes. You're seeing that the box has taken the shape of a cube, a rough cube, that the bands of the bars that, gosh, come on, Jeff. The bands that had unwoven and unraveled themselves have now formed into a cage, with the wood portions of the box being the firm sections to which the brass bands attach to. So it's formed a cage that's it's a cube, but the bands themselves kind of bow outwards. And within the center of this, now you saw that glowing green speck as the box was opening up, but as you look into this cage right now, that glowing green speck is floating in the middle of it.
I'm wondering what kind of crazy thing this is in here.
What did you say those symbols meant again?
The green morning is our past and future.
You don't think this thing is a green morning, is it?
It's definitely green. I don't know if it's a morning or not, but it's clearly from the past, and it's clearly in our present, so maybe it's our future too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I would like my future to not involve being in a green office with some sort of situation going on, so...
Yeah, I tend to agree. Is it doing anything else now that it's formed this shape, or it's kind of stopped what it's doing?
It's stopped. All the little gears and everything have stopped. The 8 dials that you had seen before are now at the corners of the sections of the box. So, there's 4 along here, and then there's 4 on either side. So it kind of, they're still accessible, those dials are.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Right. Can I hang on 1 second? I gotta let the dog outside. One
Yeah,
second.
no problem. You guys
Sorry.
want to take a break, and we'll come back and wrap it up? Why don't we do that? So let's see. While she runs
sounds
off,
good.
we'll go to a close, folks.